कृष्ण कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी असतदिशचारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महाराज की, श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, श्री ताई गौर सुंदर की, पतित पावन शिला प्रभुपाद की, समस्त गौर भक्तवृंद की, निताई गौर प्रेमानंद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Studying from Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 23, entitled as Maharaj Pitu's Going Back Home, text 1 to 3. तंत्रा श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय। मैत्रेय उवाच दृष्ट्वात्मानं प्रपश्यम् एकदा वैनम् आत्मवान् आत्मना वर्धिताशेष स्वानुसर्गः प्रजापतिः जगतस्तस्थुश्चापि वित्तिदो धर्मभृतसतां निष्पादितेश्वरादेशो यदर्थम् इह जना इवान् आत्मज आत्म आत्मजेस्व आत्मजां न्यास विरहाद रुदतीम इव प्रजासु विमन विमनस्व एकः स दारो अगत तपोवनम्। Chant the first sloka. मैत्रेय उवाच दृष्ट्वात्मानं प्रपश्यम् एकदा वैनम् आत्मवान् आत्मना वर्धिताशेष स्वानुसर्ग प्रजापतिः। मैत्रेय उवाच दृष्ट्वात्मानं प्रवयसम् दृष्ट्वात्मानं प्रव्यसम् एकदा वैनम् आत्मवान् आत्मना वर्धिताशेषः स्वानुसर्ग प्रजापतिः। मैत्रेय उवाच दृष्ट्वात्मानं प्रवयसम् एकदा वैन्य आत्मवान् आत्मना वर्धिताशेषः स्वानुसर्ग प्रजापतिः। मैत्रेय उवाच आत्मानं प्रवशयम् वैन्यमात्मवान् आत्मना वर्धिताशेषः स्वानुसेन प्रजापतिः। मैत्रेय उवाच दृष्ट्वात्मानं प्रवयसम् एकदा वैन्य आत्मवान् आत्मना वर्धिताशेषः स्वानुसर्ग प्रजापतिः। मैत्रेय उवाच दृष्ट्वात्मानं प्रवयसम् एकदा वैन्य आत्मवान् आत्मना वर्धिताशेषः स्वानुसर्ग प्रजापतिः। मैत्रेय उवाच दृष्ट्वात्मानं प्रवयसम् एकदा वैन्य आत्मवान् आत्मना वर्धिताशेषः स्वानुसर्ग प्रजापतिः। Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. At the last stage of his life, when Maharaja Prithu saw himself getting old, That great soul who was king of the world divided whatever opulences he had accumulated amongst all kinds of entities, moving and non-moving. He arranged pensions for everyone according to religious principles, and after executing the orders of Supreme Personality of Godhead, in complete coordination with him, he dedicated his sons unto the earth, which was considered to be his daughter. Then Maharaja Pitu left the presence of his citizens, who were almost lamenting and crying from feeling separation from the king, and went to the forest along with his wife to perform austerities. I'll repeat this translation. At the last stage of his life, when Maharaja Pitu saw himself getting old, that great soul, who was king of the world, divided whatever opulences he had accumulated amongst all kinds of living entities, moving and non moving. He arranged pensions for everyone according to religious principles, and after executing the orders of Supreme Personality of Godhead in complete coordination with him, he dedicated his sons unto the earth, which was considered to be his daughter. Then Maharaja Pitu left the presence of his citizens, who were almost lamenting and crying from feeling separation from the king, and went to the forest alone with his wife to perform austerities. Purport: Maharaja Pitu was one of the Saktyaves incarnations of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such, he appeared on the surface of the earth to execute the orders of the Supreme. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of all planets, and he is always anxious to see that in each and every planet the living entities are happily living and executing their duties. As soon as there is some discrepancy in the execution of the duties, the Lord appears on the earth, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.7. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Since there were so many discrepancies during the regime of King Vena, the Lord sent his most confidential devotee Maharaj Pitu to settle things. Therefore, after executing the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and settling the affairs of the world, Maharaja Pitu was ready to retire. He had been exemplary in his government administration, and now he was to become exemplary in his retirement. He divided all his property amongst his sons and appointed them to rule the world. And then he went to the forest with his wife. It is significant in this connection that it is said that Maharaja Pitu retired alone and at the same time took his wife with him. According to Vedic principles, when retiring from family life, one can take his wife with him, for the husband and the wife are considered to be one unit. Thus, they can both combine perform austerities for liberation. This is the path that Maharaja Pitu, who was an exemplary character, followed, and this is also the way of Vedic civilization. One should not remain at home until the time of death, but should separate from family life at a timely moment and prepare himself to go back to Godhead. As a Saktyaves incarnation of God, who had actually come from Vaikuntha as a representative of Krishna, Maharaja Pitu was certain to go back to Godhead. Nonetheless, in order to set the examples in all ways, he also underwent severe austerities in the Tapovana. It appears that in those days there were many Tapovanas or forests especially meant for retirement and the practice of austerities. Indeed, it was compulsory for everyone to go to the Tapovana to fully accept the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but it is very difficult to retire from family life and at the same time remain at home. Om Tat Sat. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langyayate Girim Yatkipatamaham Bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. This chapter is entitled as Maharaj Pitu Going Back Home. And we will read in Prabhupada's purport often, we should go back to Godhead, back home, back to Godhead. And we see Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna is saying so many times, Ma mevasyasi, satyam te, meaning that to come back to me, believe me, it is 100% true. Satyam te, ati janihi priyasi me. You are very dear to me. Manmana bhav mad bhakto matyaji mam namaskru mam evasi satyam te, saying that become my devotee, offer your obeisances to me, worship me. In this way, you will surely come back to me. So many places Krishna is assuring. Sadhaman paityajya mam ekam sarnam braja aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. Masucha. Krishna is assuring that surrender to me, and surely you will become free from all sinful reactions. So there's so many times we'll hear that we should go back home. Spiritual world is our real home. We all spirit soul. This is material world composed of three modes. Other day Maharaj was explaining in his class that nobody here is free from the three modes. Even great sages, demigods, they are all under the three modes. At present time, we see that mode of ignorance and passion is most prominent. In Satyuga, the mode of goodness was more prominent. But all said and done, everyone is under the modes. So, being under the modes, uh, we are entangled in this world, in cycle of birth and death, ocean of birth and death. According to our karma, the reactions of fruitive activities which we perform constantly, we are subjected to suffer or enjoy in different kinds of species and different planets, up and down, left and right, everywhere. We have to we are subjected to suffering and enjoyment. It's all because we are under three modes, we perform activities, and for that we get reaction. Here it is said that Prithu Maharaj was going back to Godhead. He was Satyaves Avatara, and it was already sure that he will go back to Godhead. We hear that how Dhruv Maharaj also went back to Godhead. Mentioned that Dhruv Maharaj, when he was it was his it was time for him to leave the Vaikuntha planet. Vaikuntha Airlines came, the Vimana Vaikuntha came, and with the Vishnu Dutas, they came to receive him. And while he was uh, getting ready, even the death personified also reached. So Dhruva Maharaj mentioned that how he welcomed everyone, paid his obeisances to everyone, went around uh, the Vimana, and then he kept his lotus feet on the head of death personified, and then he used that as a stepping stone to climb to the Vaikuntha airline. And then like this he went. While going, he thought about his mother. Then as soon as he thought, immediately the Vishnu Dutas, they referred, okay, you see your mother already has boarded the plane before you and she is going back. So he saw Pitu Maharaj went back to Godhead. Similarly, here we see that it's mentioned that Pitu Maharaj is also going back to Godhead. In this chapter later, we will see that how Pitu Maharaja's plane is taking off, and it is it is rising up and up. All the planetary systems, which are heavenly planetary systems, everything is just rising up. So all the citizens of the heavenly planet, they are just glorifying the Lord, and the Pitu and the Archi, both of them went together. It means they went to forest together, and also they went back to Godhead together. They were a Satyabes avatar of the Lord. Of course. So everyone is seeing them and glorifying Archi as how fortunate she is, and glorifying that you know what kind of destination they are going back to God. Everybody is watching while they are going back to Godhead in this from this material. Everybody is watching that they are going back to Godhead. And they are in front of them. Their plane is taking off and then going from one planet to another planet, and from there going back to Godhead, spiritual world. So the spiritual world is the reality, like how we see here, this existence. Prabhupada is telling this existence actually is the reflection of that spiritual world. It's only reflection. The reality is there. So how much we feel this is real, actually, that is more than this real. Our identity is we are soul, and we belong to the spiritual world. There only we will be free from all the anxieties. Here we are subjected to different anxieties because we are enjoying the fruits of our activities. So we are subjected for different anxieties. Always there is a fear. Constantly we are fear. Why there is a fear? Bhaya Dvitiya Niveshayat. Says that because we consider ourselves as a body. So as soon as we in this body concept of life, we are subjected to fear. Constantly we are subjected to fear. What will happen? What will be going to be happen in future? What will happen to this? What will happen to that? So many ways we are anxious. So after that, we are going to take another body. We don't know which species of life, which place we will be born. So within the womb of mother, there is a constant fear. We come out of the womb of mother, there is again constant fear is there. We are always subjected to change. We are not able to stay in our original position. Constantly we have to change from place to place, situation to situation. So here it is reality that one can go back home, back to Godhead. Krishna has given the formula also. And just you have to worship. We have to adopt the process of devotional service. Just by performing devotional service is the most easiest and sublime way. There are so many yogas, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. It is said that Bhakti Yoga is most easiest because we don't have to wait for getting purified and then we will uh, become advanced. Bhakti Yoga, while performing itself, we are getting purified. Like Jnana Yoga, said that when person takes renounces, he becomes detached, and then he actually starts uh, in completely he starts practicing Jnana Yoga. Prabhupada is saying in the purport that one should not artificially take the renounced order without becoming free from, without being purified. Otherwise, it will create simply disturbance in one's life and in society. But devotional service is not like that. While anyone can perform devotional service, and while performing devotional service, we are being purified. So devotional service is very easy and sublime. And present age, if you want to go back to Godhead, actually there is no way. It says Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nasta, Nasta, Nasta. There is no other way, no other way, no other way. And chanting of the holy name of Lord, chanting of the holy name of the Lord, chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So this is just by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Unbeknownst to us, we are getting purified. Purified from what? From desires for sense gratification. So deep, desires are so deep that we even do not know what we are going to desire. Sometimes we will desire in the dream. But these desires are there inside us. So very difficult to get rid of these desires. So, but when we chant the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we're chanting that actually the Lord is helping us. Sitting in our heart is Paramatma, and He knows everything in and out, He knows everything. So, this Lord is compared like a sun. Similarly, holy name is like a sun. So, when we chant, just by the presence of the Lord, our existence is purified. We become free from all this sinful desire. The sense desire for sense gratification is called sinful because we are meant to serve the Lord, but we think that no, I should be served, I should be enjoying. Actually, we are supposed to give enjoyment, we're supposed to give pleasure to Supreme Personality of Godhead, but we have revolted against Him, and then we thinking, no, why He alone? I should also enjoy. So this is therefore the desire for sense gratification is sinful. And therefore, we are here in this material world. If our karma is good, we may be thinking that we are in mode of goodness and experiencing happiness. But so-called happiness is actually also punishment. Therefore, it is called bondage. What kind of punishment? We, as being a spirit soul, part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are supposed to be experiencing something much sophisticated and higher. But we have been subjected to very little kind of happiness which comes from Sattva-guna. Says that even Brahma Sukha, that Brahman realization, person at the stage of liberation will experience the happiness. It's compared even just a small drop with the ocean of happiness one will derive by in service of the Lord. Just considered only a drop, just a drop. So we actually supposed to get unlimited happiness, and we just made pacified in more of goodness to be satisfied with a small drop. So it's punishment or not? It's punishment. So just by performing devotional service, we can we can go back to Godhead. Here we see that how Pitu Maharaj he performed all his duties so wonderfully as a king. He instructed his citizens. Not only instructed his citizens, he engaged them in devotional service. See that how even Prithvi, she refused to give grains to produce for the well-being, for the maintenance of the citizens. And you see that how Pitu Maharaja even chastised Mother Earth. Here, Mother Earth is referred as his daughter. You see, therefore, Mother Earth has got the name Pitu Maharaj after she's got Prithvi. Like we see that Arjuna is the son of Kunti Maharani. So he's got the name Kaunteya or Partha. Pitha is the name of Kunti Maharani, Kunti Devi. So he's also called Partha. So Krishna will address him so many times, oh Partha, oh Kaunteya. So like that, here Prithvi is considered as daughter of Pitu Maharaj. Pitu Maharaj is Satyabhis avatar. So therefore she is called Prithvi. So whoever is in leading position should be actually this is duty to facilitate subordinate in his journey going back to Godhead. Said Pitana Sasyat, Janina Sasyat, Guruna Sasyat, Devana Sasyat, Swajana Sasyat, Namoche Dadi Samupayat Mrityu. One should not become mother, father, guru, relative, friend, etc. If one cannot save oneself, cannot save their dependents from the fast approaching death with samupayat mrityum. So this is a great responsibilities we carry. Uh, Therefore, we have to be very exemplary. Here we see that Pitu Maharaj, he is a Satyaves avatar. He does not have to follow all the Varnashram system. He is already assured of going back to Godhead, but he is setting up example. At the right time, when he's getting old, now he decides, now let me focus on the most important business of life. What is most important business of life? Yes, preparing oneself for going back to Godhead. This is the most important duty for oneself and also for others. When we cannot go back to Godhead, we're not sincere about going back to Godhead, then how we can help others? Like a person who is drowning, if he is not able to save himself, how much he will save others? So we see that how Prithu Maharaj is setting an example at right time. He is going to retire from the family life. So there is a varnashram system. We know that brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. So person is from very beginning of life, from 5 years old, he is being trained to follow brahmacharya, so that he will be able to focus upon Brahman, understanding of absolute truth for self-realization. And then one can enter into the grihastha ashram, and he is not supposed to stay in all the life in grihastha ashram. At right time, supposed to retire. You should take Krishna consciousness seriously. Prabhupada is writing in the book On the Way to Krishna. There is such a chaotic situation at modern education system that जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय, श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंह भगवान की जय, निताई गौर सुंदर की जय. The children, which they are supposed to be taught from about Atma Gyan or Krishna consciousness, is said that is such a fearful situation that in their womb, even their in their mother's womb, they are not safe. If somehow other mother does not abort the child and is able to get out, come out of the womb, he is immediately is sent to such a system where he is not facilitated by any self-realization. He just taught how to have more and more sense gratification. So this is the present day situation. But in Vedic time, Varnashram system, the focus, the goal was uh, very clear that one should prepare to go back to Godhead. That is the goal of life. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. The Vedas also is four Purusartha is there. That moksha is the most important thing. Dharma, Artha, Kama should facilitate one to get liberated. So here, Pitu Maharaj at right time is going to forest. When we hear about going to forest, what do we think? Oh, it's going very, very difficult life. Out in the forest, because forest, we have to everything, we have to arrange from the scratch. It's not like we can get cylinder gas connection, then electricity, then we will have bedding, then we will have all the store of all the ingredients. All these things will have everything. Every day we have to think what we are going to do. And we have to always depend on the Lord because we are going to stay with all the ferocious animals. Always we have to be depending on the Lord. So that is the forest life. And three-fourths of our one's life one will spend in the forest. Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, and sannyasi also used to travel from one place to another place. Completely dependent on the Lord and taking the austere lifestyle. Why taking austerity? And Rishabh Dev is telling to his 100 children, Tapo Divyam Putraka Yena Satvam. You should go and perform austerities to purify yourself. You should purify. This is the actually business of life, to purify oneself. Because in pure state of mind only we can remember, we can think of the Lord. Therefore, this austerity is meant to purify oneself. So, in our practice of Krishna consciousness also, we should not avoid taking austerity. We have been asked only simple austerity. What is austerity for us? You should get up early in the morning, first thing. Then we are asked to chant the holy name of the Lord minimum number of rounds. Then we have to fast on the Ekadasi days. Then we have to perform our service duties. So this may all look little challenging because we have to fight constantly against desires for sense gratification. So that's a kind of austerity. But one should be very happy to take this austerity because by just taking this austerity, we are preparing ourselves for going back to Godhead. Like a student is asked to study. Is asked to study your future is very good. Initially, the child doesn't understand and he wants to go and play. If the parents they have to force him, no, you go to school, but he won't like to go to school. He wants to go and play. But then, as he is growing, he becomes mature. He starts understanding. Better go to school only, because later I have to suffer more. Now, a small way I am feeling happy, but later I have to struggle much more. If I go to school, study nicely, my future is good. So we see that as they grow, they start becoming more serious on their studies. Similarly, initially, we would have been lazy or careless, but now as we growing, we should become very serious. We should be willing to take all kinds of austerities so that we advance very quickly in spiritual life. This is we see how when Pitu Maharaj, by his example showing, by example is the best way to teach. Just by showing that he is going along, it's like nobody is forcing him. He is on supreme authority, but voluntarily he is going. He is taking voluntarily. He is taking austerity. संतरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, प्रदीप प्रभुपाद की जय।